You are about to listen to a Jason Burgos exclusive interview.
Hey Jason, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? I mean, you are now 100,000 air. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I mean, I got like 11 to 12 questions. I'll jump right into it. The first one is, just tell me a bit about your background. Did you study martial arts, or were you into any specific sports growing up, which was kind of like part of the reason you would eventually get into professional MMA fighting?
Yeah, I actually grew up boxing I had my first boxing match at 12 years old, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I have a pretty good amount of fights, amateur and professional as well.
I didn't even like. So what is like a 12-year-old? Is it like a Golden Gloves, just like under 18 or something like that?
No, Golden Gloves. So there's like two different divisions. There's an open class and there's obviously not an open class. Um, so it's the novice class, and that's just for younger kids. Kids under like I guess 16 or under, even 18 and under. Once you go open, you can't go back. It's kind of like going pro, like semi-pro, I guess you could
Hmm.
say.
And
Yeah,
once,
and then once you go open, then you can compete in the Golden Gloves, the tournament, the actual
uh,
tournaments.
and so was it always a thing where, because you were boxing so early, was something like MMA something you saw in the future, or did you want to be a professional boxer?
Honestly, I actually wanted to be a professional boxer when I was younger. It just when I started getting older and into the bigger tournaments, I just felt like they were really political,
Mm. And what did you have any
which is
specific?
a shame.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, and I mean, especially because it makes so much more money that it's easier to make bigger money quicker. Were
Right.
there certain fighters in MMA that you were big fans of that were inspirations, and also part of why you ended up preferring that along with avoiding the politics of boxing?
When I was younger, I saw Forrest Griffin and Stephan Bonner fight. I was like, oh damn, this is pretty cool. This is crazy, and I liked Anderson Silva a lot also. And then, um, those were two of the biggest guys I really admired. And then once I was already competing in MMA, I was training in Albuquerque. Once I turned pro, and obviously John Jones was a big influencer.
Do you train out of Jackson Wink, or just
I
because?
don't.
What gym do you train out of?
Um, I train out of Latrell's. Latrell's
Mm.
is Jackson's first black belt, and they kind of they split. But before they split, we used to cross train at Jackson's.
Mm.
So I have trained with a lot of the top guys over there.
All right. Now, you only competed in 3 rounds to win the Copa Combate. However, going into the tourney, all of you guys could have very well fought in 7 rounds if it went the distance in every single fight. How did you prepare for that possibility in camp, leading up to the tournament of 7 rounds or so? And have you ever been in one-night tournaments before this?
No, I've never been in one night tournament before, but I have competed in Golden Gloves, which is I would fight over like 3 fights over a course of a weekend, I believe. Yeah, it was really different, really really challenging. We just trained to simulate the tournament as much as possible. Whenever I'd spar, we'd do my rounds. I'd do 1 5-minute round, take a break, take a few rounds off, hang out, and then do three threes, take another break, and then do my final fight. And I feel like it really really paid off because I was really composed in there, and I knew what to expect.
Now, in the semifinals, you faced Bruno Canetti. The fight was exciting as he knocked you down, he put you in some danger. Then you returned the favor, stopping him eventually later in the first round. Fans booed, and even the announcers felt the stoppage might have to, have been too soon. What were your thoughts immediately after the fight ended, and since then? I mean, on how it all played out. Did you feel that he was finished? Do you think maybe, unfortunate circumstance? What did you think of it?
Honestly, I think I could have finished him either way. Um, I hit him with a really good uppercut and left hook, and that left hook really put him out. I mean, he was falling like a tree, like kind of in slow motion.
Hmm.
And I jumped on him right away, and I was throwing some good shots, and I was hitting him, and he wasn't blocking any of the shots. He tried to grab a single leg, but he didn't even grab a single leg properly, which goes to show how much he was really out. He kind of like overhooked my leg, kind of wrapped around it kind of the wrong way. And he was in a really bad position. And honestly, I feel like if the ref didn't stop it, it was just going to get a lot worse for him then.
I've talked to several the fighters in the PFL, and they recently did like a 2-fight playoff. How long did you have in between fights, and what did you do to keep warm? Did you do like a warm up drills before, or did you not? Did you just try to get something, hydrate, eat something? Like, what were you doing in between rounds? Were you strategizing for the next guy? I mean, not rounds, in
Yeah,
between
so we
fights.
only got about, yeah, in between fights, yeah. I knew what you meant. In between fights, um, I was kind of a little bit beat up, so we were trying to ice everything.
Mm.
I was trying to ice my ankle, my leg, my hands. We were just trying to stay fresh. And about 10 minutes before I knew I had to come out, I'd get up and, I'd start warming up and getting ready. And while I was getting iced, we were watching the fights backstage, kind of game planning and talking about my next opponent or my possible next opponents. So we were just trying to stay sharp and trying to keep me as fresh as possible.
Now, the spinning back elbow in the final felt like something you use often. I was watching the highlight of it earlier, and it seemed like you were bending and waiting and setting up and just waiting to unfurl it. Is that a go-to surprise technique you have practiced a ton of times in training, or was it kind of just something you felt in the moment, just went with it?
No, I've practiced this a lot of times. I mean, I feel like someone can't just get so lucky that they throw that spinning elbow and get the knockout the way I did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that has to be, repeated over and over and over in training. I've actually accidentally cut a few of my partners and dropped a few of my training partners with that spinning elbow.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, yeah, it's been practiced over and over, what, 4 or 5 years maybe. Coach Trell, my head coach, is the one that showed it to me.
What is the
And
specific
if you look
situation?
back,
Like, what's the specific situation when you feel like it's a good time to use it? Like, is it a certain kind of opponent in their style, or like when you say, okay, this is an opportunity to use this?
we have a lot of different setups. I'll fake some shots sometimes, and I'll come with a spinning elbow. I'll use it a lot off of the clinch. That's where I hit it
Mm.
most of the time, is off of the clinch.
Mm-hmm.
Or whenever a lot of people are kind of like pressuring me, and they're kind of they're either going to my back, I'll hit it as they're trying to like take my back. If I'm kind of like in that crouch shoulder roll position, and that'll set up the spinning elbow. Or as Alejandro did to me, he pressured me too much, and he was kind of getting a little bit greedy and trying to throw for the kill. He was throwing his 1-2, and I shoulder rolled his 2, and I knew his hand wasn't going to be at his face.
Mm.
So that was a good time for me to throw it. Yeah.
Now, Alberto El Patron, aka Jose Alberto Rodriguez, the promotion's commentator and brand ambassador, when I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, he picked you as one of the favorites. And he
Right.
said you are one of the best fighters in the world. Now, unbeaten in over 8 fights with the promotion and the Copa Combate champion for 2018, do you feel like you are becoming one of the faces of the promotion, as they're starting now to head towards an English-speaking fan base and get on the zone? Do you feel a difference in how they treat you from, say, your first fight to now?
Oh yes, completely. They don't get me wrong; they've never treated me
Right,
badly. They've
right.
always been really, really good to me. But I just feel now like I've proven myself over and over again, and they kind of can't just turn a blind eye to me anymore. I'm the best 45er in the promotion, and I feel like I'm one of the best 45ers in the world, to be honest. And they're great. They're awesome promotion with me. Um, Now they're gonna do a tour with me since I won the tournament,
Hmm.
and lately this past year, I guess they've been flying me out more to different events and kind of just putting my face out there more, and it's really cool.
Is this something you've always hoped for, or is it this position of being kind of like a frontman face, one of the stars of promotion that is an unexpected perk of the job that you're enjoying?
To be honest, when I was younger, I kind of felt like I could be a superstar. I could be a face of a company. I felt like I had that in me. So, I don't know if I would say I'm surprised, but I just felt like kind of about time. I'm a little bit older. I've been fighting for a really long time,
Mhm.
so It feels, even though I'm only 27 years old, I feel I've been fighting and competing for about 15 years. So to me, it's been a long time.
What does it mean to be a part of a promotion that serves the Hispanic fans in Central America, South America, and Spain? In Spain, an underappreciated, underserved fan base of MMA fans with a roster built mostly of Latin fighters. Does it have any special meaning to you to be a part of something like this?
Yeah, I do feel really special and honored to be able to represent my culture and my heritage and everything. But I just feel like I kind of get the bad end of both sides because I am American, and I feel like all of the Mexican fans kind of have hate towards me, especially since I just beat Mexico, and I fought a lot of the actual Mexican fighters that have been born and raised in Mexico. But I will always have love for Mexico and all my Mexican fans.
So almost like a similar position Oscar De La Hoya used to be back in the day. Like he was kind of a American raised and linked to Puerto Rico, to Mexico, but they didn't respect him, say like a Julio Cesar Chavez in a way.
Yes, I completely agree. On Combate's posts and their Instagram, their Facebook, and all that, I get a lot of hate, and a lot of people call me lucky and call me a Yankee, and just kind of a little disrespectful, but I don't mind being the bad guy. I don't mind being the Floyd Mayweather of this company.
Hey, Floyd makes not a lot of money now. You lost in the entry round for the 22nd season of Tough. Since then, outside of
Right.
one loss, you have been on an absolute tear. Was that disappointment like a pivotal moment in your career, and it kind of pushed your desire and what you knew you needed to do to get to another level? Did it motivate you to this next level you are reaching?
Yeah, I really do feel strongly about that. I feel like at that time I didn't really trust my full on MMA game. I would rely heavily on my boxing, but now recently I got two submissions. I got two rear naked chokes, and those are my first two submissions of my professional career. So I felt like taking those losses. The guy was a really good. I think he's a black belt in Taekwondo, real high level black belt, and I kind of just try to fight fire with fire instead of looking to take him where he would be weaker, where he wouldn't have as much experience. Been doing Taekwondo since he was a kid. I just learned to trust my MMA game as a whole a lot more.
Now, of course, you're gonna lose some money in taxes, but how life changing is winning this $100,000 for you?
Oh, it's very, very life changing. Like I was making decent money. I've made the most money with Combate Americas throughout my entire career, but I've never made six figures in one night. So it's really, really an honor to be able to actually say like I am a professional fighter. I do this for a living, and not to be struggling, fight to fight and worrying about, I have to fight this month, or I have to fight within 3 months, or I'm not going to make my bills, or just different things like that. It's really, really awesome that I could kind of step back and relax and really focus on my game instead of being stressed about when I have to fight.
You don't have to get specific, but have you even what's the closest you've even gotten this kind of number in one night? Like, have you even gotten close to halfway in one night? What is like the closest next purse you've ever made? Before this.
Probably about less than 25% for sure.
Wow. Do you have any plans for
Yeah,
the money now that you have it?
Honestly, I just want to be smart with my money, and I want to make sure I'm well off and I'm taken care of in the future. So I've been talking with a lot of people about investing my money and making sure it's put away and making sure it's working my money's working for me and it's actually growing instead of just sitting there and just collecting dust.
Now, the other question is, what the heck do you do with the gigantic gold trophy that you now have?
So my grandma does kind of have like a trophy room back home in Roswell, New Mexico. She has a pretty big house, I think 5 bedrooms.
Wow.
And one of those bedrooms has all my old posters, my belts, and a lot of my different trophies and stuff. So I'm thinking about taking it there, but Might just put it in my room for now, but I don't know yet. I'm not too sure.
Now, last question. How many more? It's up to you if you want to get specific. How many more fights do you have with Combate? And now, having won this tournament, and your value is super high, does the idea of testing free agency intrigue you at all? Not soon, but in the future.
Right. I am signed to a 5-fight contract with them, or a year and a half, whichever comes first. I believe it's a year and a half.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm not too sure. You know, I am a prize fighter at the end of the day, so wherever they pay me the most is where I'd like to go, and that's why I do have a great management team with Epoch, and you know they'll be able to help me out and decide, and we'll decide together of what we will be doing in the future. But as of now, I'm very happy with Combate Americas, and I will be fighting for a world title next.